Okay, so we're now, yeah, we're live. Okay, so we're now recording, and this is game 3 of the matches so far on Midbridge. Just waiting for the.
It could be said that there is mild distress.
Yeah, we've
from both teams.
Had nearly 20 minutes of vote time with a delay before that because of some player number issues.
Could be good. It would be good. Both teams could attempt to field an approximately similar number of players. So, Midbridge. This is not a very. It's not a very played map, and it's kind of strange for an Empires map in that it's pretty fucking symmetrical. Most Empires maps really aren't.
Yeah.
Which. There's a question of whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, because asymmetrical balance is fun. The two sides themselves are different, and NF tends to be stronger in a lot of ways, although BE heavy tanks, some people would say, a lot stronger. You might say that given completely... Yeah, I saw. Well, I haven't read through the changelog, so
Plasma is much less overpowered now.
Okay.
I didn't know from last week is that neither team got Plasma, simply because of... the two teams agreed not to research it just because of the
Okay, we're seeing something interesting, which is a very quick vehicle factory from Brunodi, from Xray over here. They've gotten a vehicle factory straight up before they're even bothering to get the refinery up. Now, Xray have gone for a bit slightly more traditional barracks with a refinery.
I'm not sure what they're going to
It's
get
interesting
with
to
that.
see. Well,
Are there any grenadiers in the squad from Xray that's heading up there? I'm just going to have a look now. I think that's the main thing. Yeah, they have. They've got 2 grenadiers, but they're going up the ladders. They're going up. They're making a different call. Oh, they're going the high ground. It's like they're prepared for the vehicles. If that APC if an APC goes down that hill now, it's going to get taken out straight away, and they can't. Really
we're about to see an engagement in the southeast.
Yep, that's what I want about. Like if
Seapan, Posthumus, Lama, and Blue Sky engaging on this squad with Hashtabas, Rocket Box, Cat Guy.
I feel like it's. I don't know if I won't say a misplay, but it's interesting. I mean, I'm surprised that Xray haven't taken more than that. But the thing is, despite Quebec stopping to build a vehicle factory, they've still taken it. You know, like
Brunodi wins that engagement.
Yeah, like Quebec spent a lot of time on the hill and stuff. Also on the bridge.
The Xray squad got wiped there completely. Okay, the Xray squad looks like there's a squad making its way across the bridge. They've spotted the vehicle factory now. Blood Pickle setting up to defend this, but they do not have a barracks, so this could be very bad. They could lose this initial vehicle factory.
They lose this vehicle factory. Look at all the mortars coming in.
Yeah, that's huge.
They've got an APC out though, so they have a spawn. It's down. That's 400 res straight off the bat. They managed to get another G-Pat and they've got the APC, but this squad is running straight through here. If they get eyes on the APC, which I imagine their commander has, once that APC goes down, that's massive for Quebec, because suddenly they've got an enemy squad right outside their main base. But they are building a barracks at the bottom of the hill, but they're going to be kind of have Xray right in between them, between their main base and this forward racks. And the APC is backing, quite wisely I think, into the tunnels.
Yeah, Xray have done really well there to take that. If they can now get a barracks up, then this is huge.
And there's an Xray Jeep now heading towards... Wow, that's... Wow.
So in terms of the important points...
Look at this Jeep, it's main base.
Base Jeep base. Wow, okay.
How did that happen?
Yeah, how did that happen?
That is a new Jeep model.
It is a new Jeep model.
Okay. Well, he's trying to create some space, but they don't seem to be biting at the moment.
No. Valiant seems to have noticed. Valiant seems to be backtracking.
But look at the APC that Xray have got further north. It's also worth noting that while we were all talking here, Quebec and Xray were engaging in the northwest, and it seems like they've managed to sort of push out.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I expect Quebec to take the northwest, but what I don't expect them to do is lose the south, because they have lost that. It's worth talking about what the important points on the mid-bridge are. The bridge is not very important, which is That's why the map's called mid-bridge.
Well,
The bridge sucks.
One of the other things that's important is the refinery points. I've got the minimap up again. Both the refineries at each side of the bridge and then the two in the corner are all double refineries. You know, together they're worth like every other refinery. If you had all four of those, you would be having every other ref on the map, and those refineries, especially the ones near the middle, they're quite tucked away behind trees. So if you get turrets up, it can be quite difficult to take them if the other teams entrench them with turrets.
Okay, so I mean, as ever on an Empire's map, the high ground is important, and once you actually take these points on the far north and the far middle, so the north and the south and the middle, they're probably some of the most important points in the game to hold. Typically, if a team holds both of those points, they will probably win this map, just because they give you such an advantage. You can shell the enemy base from up there. The trees are very hard to fight through, so when you have those points, you have a huge positional advantage.
Yep. I think right now we can see a push from Quebec, right in the south.
Yeah,
so
Quebec are trying to take that back. They managed to actually take down the racks, which is good.
But I don't know, I mean, the question is, are Xray going to react by getting up an APC there to replace this one? Well, they have the time. The commander could be dropping it now, but whether they have the resource or not. And Spike's rearming up now, and they're probably going to make
frankly, I think they need to dump an APC out of that vehicle factory, hide it in the little inside the tunnel area behind it.
They're literally making that exact play right now.
Yeah, good.
Which is, so I mean, they're defending that. Having said that, now we'll go over and have a look at Xray, who are pretty much pitched right up outside the Quebec main base. And they've lost the vehicle factory they just set up, but they're making a substantial push there.
I mean, I was actually surprised to see them take down this. I wasn't surprised to see them take down the refinery, but I was surprised to see a base being set up here already, because it's not the best position to push from. It's quite exposed.
Well, it's not just that. The fact is that Quebec have a base north of it as well. So I mean, that's the other thing I've noticed. If you look at Xray's bases, both of Xray's bases are literally in between the Quebec bases. If you look on the map, I mean, you've got Quebec pitched down here in the southeast and in the southwest and in the northwest. But then you've got these Xray bases that are sort of pitched in between that, which is.
Is my HUD bugging out, or can we no longer see tickets as spectators?
Your HUD's bugging out. Just rejoin the game.
Okay. I'm not sure about all this infantry in the southwest. Sorry, southeast. I mean, that's kind of sandwiched between two sets of NF bases, and it's not going too well for them.
Well, the question is, I mean, I can see they're creating space. I'm looking on the map now, trying to work out exactly how many infantry. I'm seeing like 7, I think. But the thing is, they've just lost their racks, and I don't think Xray are actually committing as many players, and they've got 4 on the bridge.
Okay, Lolliot is going for, just to elaborate what the teams are actually researching and what their resources are. On Quebec, Lolliot is going for regenerative armor, and they have 2,000 resources with only 1 vehicle out. Their research so far, they don't have anything else. So regen armor is Lolliot's first piece of research.
If we look to the north, just to put in there, the north, we can see some Quebec guys making a rush, well not a rush, but a push rather, into the Xray main. You can see them sort of coming down the hill there. Senior Awesome instantly taking out the camera, and these unbuilt turrets are getting, and straight away I think, well, having said that, Xray have had the foresight to get up 2 Raxes there, so I actually think this is going to be quite a difficult take for them.
Meanwhile, Lord DZ is going for the research path that I would typically expect Bernodi to go for, which is he's gotten DU, he's got 50 cal DU up straight away, he's got reflective armor out, and nuclear fission will be done in 40 seconds. So while Lolliot only has his armor out so far, Lord DZ, he's going to have fully armed APCs rolling out soon enough.
This new Jeep is awesome. This is a jump. You looked inside it, it's awesome. Anyway.
I kind of like the profile of the old Jeep.
I don't know, I like this one. This is
a bit, yeah, it's very Dune buggy. It reminds me of the, what's that vehicle in Grand Theft Auto?
Oh, the Bifter.
Yeah, that one.
I like the detailing inside though, like the gear stick and the the actual speedo and stuff like that. Like it's got some. Really
Any idea who made this? Because this was a kind of unannounced change. I didn't see any changes.
I'm going to guess Red Skull because he's also been making a really impressive NF medium, and it seems to be similar style. But maybe I could be completely wrong.
Right.
I think I'm more. I don't know who's textured it and stuff. So, but I'm impressed with it. Anyway, to get back to the game, the Quebec push into the Xray main seems to have sort of died off a little bit. But we have a couple of APCs from Quebec heading across the middle now. And I'm wondering if they're going to drop anyone off and see to go up to the actual top of the bridge and see if they can sneak anything. And apparently APCs can't get up that little bit in the middle. What the hell? Wow. Okay. So apparently there's something invisible there. There shouldn't be. But again, I feel like because to say before where Xray had like bases in between the Quebec bases. It seems to have sort of split across the map. Disregarding the northwest, which I think is probably going to go down pretty soon. It seems to be that the map has split a little more evenly now. There's not so much in between.
Northwest.
Yeah, I think that's the last sort of
Xray racks going down. It looks like once this goes down, the
map is going to be
the
split.
lines will be pretty well established of what each team has.
Yeah.
We were seeing things being pretty chaotic when teams went out. I think each team had its own little strat on what it wanted to take instantly. Yeah. And I am still very impressed that Xray actually managed to take the south there. That's really big. Saying that, Quebec have got the return. Quebec have the return is. I mean, this is not typically the way you see it go, right? Typically, NF hold the north, and B will hold the south, in the middle.
Yeah, it's definitely gone the other way around this game. We see a pair of light tanks here from Xray heading up to.
I'm not sure what they can really do from there, though.
And I think there is actually a way to fit a light tank through. Like, I'm not sure.
I believe those areas are clipped.
No, they're not clipped. But it's difficult. I've seen Jeeps do, but there's a substantial squad from Quebec pushing their way back up.
I mean, you can use those to push across the bridge, I guess, which is what they're doing.
Oh, okay.
But what exactly are two light tanks going to be doing in that base? And if Lazy Bum actually recognizes that there are two tanks directly behind him, then maybe he can do something about it.
What, with an AFE? Nope.
No.
Oh. I'm sure many grenadiers will spawn out of his AP.
Yeah.
Some reason.
Well, I'm sure that. Yeah.
Many people will spawn here to stop this. Many. The problem is that vehicle factory is quite a long way away from the racks. Like, it's not an easy thing to just get over there and quickly repair it up or whatever. Oh yeah, that's another thing I just mentioned. I've just realised now. All the normal classes can now E-repair.
E-repair, okay.
So,
vehicles as well, or just tanks?
Just think buildings, as far as I know. I actually completely forgot about that until I saw Senor Awesome just doing it there. As he was running past. But this Quebec
one light tank down, but these two light tanks, they've been doing a lot of work.
Well, look at this, Quebec in the south. They've just taken out the APC from Xray. There's two unbuilt barracks. So unless they drop an APC from that vehicle factory, they're about to lose the south. I think they've got an APC in the tunnel. It's miles away.
It's good to see them finally taking back that territory just outside their base.
Yeah.
I think this is pretty big. If Quebec get away with this, then they hold both of the high grounds.
Just to jump back to the northwest, I thought I zoomed away from there, expecting that Xray had essentially lost it. Somehow
I believe what happened is some APCs wrapped around from the middle and went and re-established a base there, and Quebec haven't been doing a good enough job of holding them down.
That creates a lot of space.
What does that area of the map realistically give you?
I don't know. I think it gives a lot of space because the point is, both of those bases that they're cutting in between, right? Those are the areas that Quebec really want to be pushing from. They want to be pushing to a location on the map. Instead, they're being distracted from this area behind.
Honestly, Quebec can hold that top portion of the map with about half the number of people that it'll take to actually take it.
Well, that's what I mean. It's really about how many players Xray are going to commit to this area. Like, if they can commit like 4 or 5 players and probably create a lot of space, but if they start committing
they'll need to commit about 10 to actually take it.
Yeah,
but if they commit like 3 or 4, then they'll just hold.
Yeah, that's all they need to do. Just hold, create some space. But I don't think they're ever going to take anything from it. They just need to use it to create some space for the rest of the map. Because unless just jumping back to these refineries in the sort of each diagonal area of the center, which are obviously two of the most valuable refineries on the map. Xray have one of them, and then they're taking the other one now. I've seen Dragon and Amatoxin taking the other one as well, which I think is pretty important.
Neither team have really felt like committing anybody down here. There's just kind of the odd sort of jeep that turns up and places down a refinery. Huh? Yeah, this AFV in the middle seems to be annoyed that it can't drive through the center of the
I don't know what's going on.
He spent a good minute so far being very insistent that
Cryptolicus is not pleased.
He is not pleased.
Oh no. He's getting grenaded as well, actually. I don't think he's realised that the grenade's dropping at us.
Oh, but you see the grenades, they can go across. Okay.
Just as I start.
Well, that was an interesting engagement.
Empires.
I want to say that Kakai won that one. Oh no, the real winner was the bridge.
It's okay, Sid, we're still in beta. So right now, from that base in the southeast, Xray are now getting a few players sort of pushing back into the south with an APC. And I think that I'm going to assume, and I'm not exactly sure what research, but I mean maybe they're using 50 cal or something, because those MGs are shredding the Quebec infantry.
Yeah, they have 50 cal. I mean, I was actually surprised at that, but it does seem to be going very well for them. I was just surprised to see Lord DZ going for the research path that I figured would be the one that Bernardi would go for, because APCs with 50 cal on this map is huge, because there's huge open spaces, the APCs can drive around, and they can just laser down anyone. So let's see what, in this time, the teams have actually researched. So Lolliot he is the commander of Quebec, and he is currently picking up medium tank chassis. His tanks, once they actually roll out, will consist of no upgraded change guns, just biological warheads, and I'm guessing just regen armor. Okay, gas turbine actually, and regen armor. So biodiesel not good anymore apparently.
I was going to throw out here this refinery that I thought I saw them going for on Xray. They haven't actually built it. They've dropped some turrets, but
talking about D5. Yeah. Those turrets, they'll get a lot of resources. Don't you worry.
Like. It's like I said, those refineries are obviously worth double some of the others, so it's very important to keep on. All the ones that have.
So let's see what NF are going for. I mean, I imagine that the teams know about the double resources.
Yeah, they do. I actually spoke to both teams about it before. It's worth saying that both teams put quite a lot of time into planning this game. I was speaking to them both, and I know that, especially for Quebec, they were going in game, adding bots to each team to work out what the resource income would be with certain refineries and stuff like that, because obviously the number of players affects the resource income. It's a modifier for that, so
it's worth mentioning the Xray research. DZ here, he's picking up fission reactor. He's picking up fission reactor. He has mediums already out. He's got reflective. He's got obviously that DU, and he's got a ranged cannon. And he's going right now for homing missile, which he will have in 60 seconds. So NF mediums look like they're going to do some serious damage.
I'm not sure why I'm looking at this NF tank hitting another tank with machine guns. I'm going to guess he's bound into the same key or something. But this base that Xray had outside the Quebec main base seems to have, like, from what the size it was at one point, is obviously cut down to a single barracks now. But they've got a lot of tanks mobilized in there. But I'm not sure if they're getting anything. Like, they're getting a few tanks down. They lost their APC. They've taken out an AFV, but it's like 3 tanks and an infantry that we're trying to take out a single AFV.
Yes, they've committed a lot of manpower, a lot of vehicles to this one area, and I just want to point it out, they don't even have the refinery.
Yeah, and Quebec.
That refinery right there that's a beef refinery just sitting there, being very proud of itself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's now.
And you know what else? You know what else? They've got the one behind it as well. They've got the B4 refinery. Renodi are laughing. They've got everything.
In stark contrast to Lorliet's Game 1 no refinery strategy.
Refinery in enemy territory strategy this time. Okay, it looks like they finally noticed that their enemies are getting resources for an area that they're holding and they're taking it out. But B mediums are out.
It's worth mentioning at this point that the teams have now, sort of, on average, burned through 50% of the tickets that they have been allotted. And on top of that, there's now a 20 ticket lead for Xray. Which, to be fair, to say they've done that much in the space of 20 minutes, they've burned through half the... I mean, at this, obviously the rate will slow down, but if this gets towards the hour mark, I think tickets could quite easily come in. If we look through the scoreboard...
This isn't a map that I find that usually comes down to tickets, just because once teams actually roll out heavies, this map tends to wrap itself up very quickly.
Special mention for C-Pat and Bursley burning the most tickets. Like, seems like he likes to feed in every game he plays.
Wow, that's 6 for 17. That's actually impressive. Lazy Bum with the probably the second award there, 5 for 16. Let's not focus on these engineers' contributions.
Meanwhile, in the south right now, there's a pretty concerted push from Xray to take this south area, which is, I think, quite important. I think it's especially the double refineries, it's worth contesting them. They've been taking down the walls, and they're really sort of advancing quite well. They've got a couple of mediums, they're backing it up with an APC. But... That's what I'm looking at, yeah, the south. I like the fact that one of the tanks has got 50 cal and has been sort of using that to cut down the infantry, and the other one's got depleted uranium. And he's
right of his tank going down there. That's actually really big that they've just lost that tank, because there's not an easy way for them to replenish that tank. There's no real way for Renodi to get vehicles up here.
There's no way. They can't do it. Because they don't hold.
They need to drive things through. They'll need to drive vehicles up through the middle and then all the way across the bridge if they want them back. So Predator losing that tank is actually really big. You're only just sitting here mowing people down.
To defend this now, they need an extra. They need an extra squad. There's nothing more.
They need a squad full of grenadiers to defend against these tanks.
Which is going to make them weak elsewhere.
Right now.
I think this is the other thing. We can say all we like about maybe Xray not accomplishing a great deal with these refiners, which they still haven't taken outside the Quebec main base. But they're building more tanks up there, and this siege that's constantly going on towards the Quebec main base, it's drawing more and more people. And I think this is maybe like the ticket lead is now up to 25, and they're just sitting there. They're not really losing tanks.
This DU that this HMG, it's 50 cal. That Lolliot picked up, or not Lolliot, that DZ picked up. It's really done a lot of work in terms of creating a pretty huge ticket lead. It's up to 30 now.
Yep.
Because their infantry just melts.
Come on, Felsus, I believe in you. You can take both of these infantry out. Okay, you can blow yourself up. That can work too. I think this repair pad actually that Xray had was doing quite a lot of work. So I mean, they have lost that, but obviously they can build it back up. But I think that was doing quite a lot of work there. But they're now turning their attention to the northwest. They're turning their attention towards the northwest, and I think if they cut that off, then they're suddenly going to own a substantial portion of the map. You know, they've got both refineries in the centre now. So really, all that, when you boil down to it as far as territory goes, all that Quebec have really
Special
got
mention though for A6 being the most traded location on the fucking map.
Oh,
Every time I look at this place, it's got a different barracks in it.
but
I
really,
think this
all
might
Quebec
be-
have got is their main base.
Yeah, I really think that this is the last time that we'll see BE in this part of the map. Because okay, there's movement from BE on the east side of the map.
I think they've given up the south, sort of the centre south. Like they've got the last holdout of
So they can't hold it, but there's a group of them pushing into NF's main base right now. This could be huge. There's check out the squad in F5. Check out the squad in F5.
There's kill spawns going for that right now. They're kill spawning people in.
I wonder if this APC is going to be able to hold.
APC's taking too much damage from that medium. It needs to hide behind the buildings.
I feel like that the movement of that squad round the back was kind of wasted by this premature movement from this APC.
Yeah. And see, it drove straight in, got against the commander, and then just wedged itself and got killed by a medium and an APC. But I think it was a bit of a waste from an APC. I think the APC rune war could have been a very good thing there.
They used some squad RT on the NFCB, but it's not going to take it out.
No, of course not. I'd say it's that
I
squad
feel
got in
like
their stealth
this was a good play, but it was not very well executed.
Yeah. But at the same time, there's now a lot of Xray infantry in their own main base. They've lost a vehicle factory, which obviously creates a bit more time to rebuild. And again, special mention for DZ having 2 Raxes here, sorry, 3 Raxes. Properly building in the redundancy, and things like that can save you. I mean, if they'd only had 1, could have quite easily lost that, because they took out that Rax pretty quickly. But there's now quite a few vehicles, because of that, because of what happened right there, Xray left the area north of the Quebec main base, and now suddenly Quebec are now pushing back out.
Push from Quebec right now.
They're pushing straight back north as fast as they can.
Okay. Never mind. A6. That's straight down
APC.
I mean, A6 does not have the most valuable refinery on the map, guys. I appreciate that you want to take this territory, but at the same time, it might be better to try getting one of those middle locations,
well,
or
Quebec's
just
taken
frankly ignoring
They've
it.
actually got round to it eventually, and they've taken one of these very valuable center refineries. The thing is, right, both teams are pretty much building it and setting up 3 turrets, so it's not that difficult to take, really. I mean, if you build a big turret farm there because of the trees, it can be very difficult.
I would dedicate maybe a maximum, but not much less than 4 people to just keeping these refineries in the middle.
We'll keep the refineries, and just have them dedicated to the centre of the map. Just roaming around, maybe dropping walls to stop tanks from driving across as well. Just disrupt them, It's a main conduit for the map, so just if they can cause some disruption, maybe even do some cheeky walls that maybe people try and think they can get around and end up in the water or something.
Between
like
the 50 cal and Quebec kind of being forced into tight corners here, the ticket lead has opened up to 61 tickets. We're now at 109 to 170 tickets.
That attack on the Xray main base was really costly.
Yeah.
And
it bought them some map control.
Look at this, right, in the D5 refinery. Quebec just sent a pair of jeeps up there and instantly got wiped out. They lost both of them.
I just want to point out that the medium tanks just drove straight through the middle of the map, through the bridge. So apparently it just has a problem with AFVs.
I saw APCs having the same problem, yeah, and I think I don't know about jeeps or not, but that was quite funny.
Alright, I'm gonna have a quick peek at what both the teams are researching while this happens. So on NF, Xray, DZ is going for heavy tanks, and they will be here in 120 seconds. So once those heavy tanks roll out, they'll be armed with 50 cal DU and salvo homing ML and ranged cannons. Yeah. Engines, they have both gas turbine and fission, so slight inefficiency there from DZ, but people can pick up whatever. They only have reflective.
Whoa, look at all these vehicles mid. Right now, massive vehicle push from Quebec. 5 mediums and a backup APC behind it.
This looks pretty last-ditch maneuver here. I mean, they're clearly not going to win this game by playing this war of attrition that they've been playing so far. They really need to make some desperate plays.
I think that was an Xray tank just casually falling off the bridge into... Yep, it was hashed.
Yeah, they lost a couple of those mediums. That's pretty big. And NF just has a lot more mediums in response now. This is not a good fight for BE.
I think at this point, you have to think, right, we're not doing too well here. It feels like we probably need to be walling things up, sieging, and just getting ourselves back, stopping them from pushing any further rather than engaging them in open combat. Force them into a siege in which eventually their tanks will win out. Grenadier tanks, when they get to heavy tanks, are better at that kind of thing. But if they sit there in open ground, the DU with the homing missile is going to shred them. I mean, look at this NF medium, it's driven behind them, and they're now focusing on that, but the other Xray mediums are just pushing further and further across the centre.
Yeah, Quebec are getting way pushed back. Right, I'm just going to pop onto Quebec and just check what they've actually got research-wise. It looks like Lolly as well is going for heavy tanks, and those will be done in 40 seconds, so about the same time that NF actually gets their heavies out.
What's the wages looking
those,
like on both teams?
when they come out, they'll be armed with plasma, a biological warhead, regen armor, and gas turbine. They've got 300 resources, whereas over on Xray, they've got 3,000 resources to play with. With 300 coming in per second.
It's worth saying that as far as refineries owned on the map, Xray have 3 single refineries and a double refinery, whereas Xray have 4, I think. Yeah, no, 5 even. If they've got, I don't know if that top left one or maybe even I don't know, 5 single refineries at least, and 3 double refineries.
I just want you to go to B3
6.
with your camera, like around about B3. Just move yourself way into the air and look down on these B medium tanks.
Yeah.
It is really pretty.
But the thing is, right? Remember for game 1 when they were this far behind?
Yeah.
You know, they got all these tanks together. They put extra effort into not losing them, and that's how they got.
I mean, it's about not losing them, but at the same time, I don't see that working this time around, because this isn't the choke point map that Cyclopean actually is. This is Midbridge is such an open map, and those guys are going to have salvo homing, and that's just going to tear away at the Quebec tanks. Those mediums are not going to last. They've got regen, so as long as they back up to keep themselves out of harm's way, they can keep those tanks up forever.
Yeah.
But if enough tanks with salvo focus on an individual medium, then that medium is dead.
And the difference with Cyclopean is that all the tanks from Xray were pushing from one direction. I mean, they couldn't really push from the south, so they were all pitched up on the hill outside the base. Here they're going to be defending from 2 different directions at once. So they're going to have to stay extremely well coordinated if they want to keep these tanks. But I'm just, you know, if you check, what's the vehicle counts on both teams at the moment?
Vehicle count on NF is currently 16, so that's 16 vehicles out for Xray, including CB, I think. Whereas Quebec, BE, they've got 11 vehicles out. So there is a 5 vehicle advantage for Xray.
I think every single Xray vehicle, Quebec vehicle is going to be in a medium, though, to be fair. So I don't know if any of the Xray vehicles are Jeeps and stuff like that. But I can see at least one APC on the map. I think Xray are doing any of that. But that, again, I think they're still trying to focus on sneaking these refineries.
These tanks are getting caught out in the middle here. These medium tanks from Quebec.
Yeah. Quebec have lost the double refinery they had outside mid-light. Xray putting extra effort into really securing that and strangling their resources, which is extremely
Nita's
important.
tank just went down. That's big.
Here, not a player usually like you to get in the tank. It must be pretty bad if he's been forced into. Games ending with Nihil with 3,000 wages.
See, what I'd actually like to see from Xray right now is, instead of the heavy tanks, the heavy tanks are fine, but honestly, the medium tanks will do. What I'd like to see them go for is artillery, get one up on that hill, and just shell the fuck out of BE's main base. That'd be
get
a
it on the bridge.
Yeah, sure.
Just drop it from there.
But really, I think as a kind of sealing the deal bit of research, picking up artillery tanks is actually pretty damn worth it.
Well, I mean, this is the same situation they were in Cyclopean. The question is, have they learned from that? Are they going to close this game out properly now?
At the same time, this is a very difficult map for... This is probably a more difficult map for Quebec to actually fight back from.
But it is, you know, they've obviously, regardless of that, if they can close, if they've learned about closing a deal here, then they'll.
So the first BE heavies are rolling out.
Again, Quebec trying to get this refinery back up in C2, which is obviously very important. So hopefully they are putting the effort into that.
Meanwhile, NF heavies, 3 of them rolling down into mid right now. It's going to be That's going to be a lot of homing missiles. Okay, let's check the research. Oh, DZ has no active research. Oh dear. Okay, explosive tipped bullets, apparently. That's the decision. Yeah, well, I mean, he's already got 50 cal, salvo homing, reflective. He's not got extended range. Oh, he does. They have extended range. Gas turbine fission reactor. So, HEMG is what he's going for. Meanwhile, on B, we've got 1,000 resources actually on this side, but we only have 7 vehicles left, which is...
They're getting progressively more pushback now.
Yeah. Their vehicles that they can actually roll out are either high explosive cannon or plasma cannon, biological warhead, gas turbine, regen. I don't think that those BE heavies are going to be strong enough to actually take on these NF heavies in the base.
There's a lot of missiles heading towards the vehicle factory. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to commit so many engineers to hold that up. I mean, look.
I mean, this. The great thing about homing is that you get salvo homing with it, and what we've seen in all of these games is just, as a siege weapon, salvo homing being really, really potent.
Yeah.
Like, UML's fine and everything, but if you can get homing, which lets you do more damage to vehicles, frankly, and you can get the salvo with it, I mean, that it kind of makes this research path almost broken.
I think in this scenario, very much, it's definitely a game closer.
We saw the same thing working on Cyclopean as well, just the shelling of the main base with these salvo tanks.
The question is next, I'm not going to say that, obviously we're pretty sure the game is lost for Quebec, but are they going to sort of employ a similar strategy next round when they're on NF?
Seeing some squad arty being dumped on the VF to seal the deal.
They're down to the last barracks now. I mean, to be fair to them, they're not giving up, they're fighting to the end.
Fighting to the end, but this is not... I'm afraid that there's not really a play they can make, short of sneaking somebody into NF main base, but they made that gambit and it didn't work. I think they had a chance there, but it was not executed in the best way. The attack on the NF main was very disjointed, and while it could have won them the game, I don't know.
I don't like that from security. I don't think that's really, saying pretty much calling your own team's defeat. And it's a bit unfair, to be honest. Just having a quick look at the scoreboard here, we can see Reznov topping it for Xray with just only 12 tickets used as well, and yet still pulling out 58 kills. And if we look at Mihia with 13 kills and 8 deaths, very much a contrast there. He's been the backbone of that team as an engineer. I feel slightly guilty because I got Omni in for Quebec, and he seems to be bottom of the scoreboard by quite a margin.
Well, he's been, credit to team.
I mean, the numbers are a little bit lower this week, so only by 2 on each team now.
I mean, this is not a nice situation to play against. I kind of wish they would just seal the deal here.
Yeah. I think a single artillery tech would end it.
Yeah. One arty. Let's see if they're actually going for that. Improved heat transfer fluids.
Good.
DZ is not a big fan of the arties. It's got to be said. I think they are a very underused vehicle in Empires, and that's probably largely due to pub play, where it's not really valid to get them because everybody thinks they're really cool. It's part of the problem is because you never see them. When you do actually research them, your whole team decides to buy them, and then they're walking around with 1,000, resources worth of tank, which just dies to a light tank or an AFV.
It's not just that though. I mean, the thing is, you only need a couple. You genuinely, and that's why I'm hoping in one day we'll have per vehicle limits that the commander can set, so you can say, right, I don't want any more than 2 artillery tanks or something like that, and that'll be it. Wow,
Shout out to the Empire's sound engine for not entirely fucking up all the time.
I think it's just Source in general is not meant to actually handle this many sounds at once. Because there's a lot of, you think about it, every single missile has its own sound, and every single impact is another sound, and you get all the shells from B and stuff like that. I think, was that a nuke that I just saw there? It looks like it.
Upgraded turrets level 3 is what Lolly is deciding to go for.
With this nukes there, I don't know how much use is going to be.
Nope.
I just wish they'd get artillery now to close out the game. There's not a great deal to talk about at this point. I mean, it's just this constant siege, and the tickets now, there's a 106 ticket lead for Xray.
Still not coming down to tickets though. Like I say, this isn't really a map that does that.
It could have, to be honest though. I mean, it's just and he's crashed out. But I think this is a game that sort of, it depends how long the match plays out. This turned very quickly. This went from, whoa,
Whoopsie.
That was a big nuke from Rhymes there. I think that was 4 kills with 1. So.
Fortunately, my Empire's just crashed.
Well, Rhymes just dropped a nuke into the middle of all the infantry. That's it. I mean, they're getting progressing more. The Xray is starting to advance now through the choke point. They're getting more and more tanks through. Now they're just essentially sending one Rax and one Raider. I think the game turned quite quickly though. I don't think it was like, it never seemed that particularly like Quebec were behind, and then suddenly it just seemed that they lost very substantial portions of the map within about 2 or 3 minutes. They just turned almost on a dime, like they just lost everything. I think this is it now. Oh, another big pair of nukes there. This is absolutely it now. I mean, I'm looking at it.
It's certainly the case that when a team gets heavies on this map, that it tends to end pretty. That tends to be pretty decisive.
And the last bar has gone down.
It's just such an open map.
And because of the dead tanks, Loliet can't make his last CV run because his own dead tanks are pinning him in.
Oh dear. Loliet has not been allowed to end the game on his own terms.
No, he can't reach the sea. He wants to very much. I think he's probably quite displeased at this. If we look at the teams, so there's still actually quite a lot of... Whoa! I know it's obviously too late. Have you seen in the north...
It is very much too late, but it is also very cute.
It's a shame. Yeah, I think if Loliet had managed to run, right? If he had managed to run from there, there is a chance that maybe he could have delayed long enough for them to at least try whatever they were going to try north.
The thing is that when you try to ninja somebody, they tend to spend the rest of the game being paranoid as fuck. And I think I have enough respect for DZ that I think he would have just he would have seen that coming a mile off. In fact, I did see his CV view hovering over those guys in the north.
DZ is a very good commander for that. He's very difficult to ninja. I'm going to right. Well, that was. I didn't put it on midbridge. I'm actually recorded. Right. Well, I did say it to midbridge. I think I was too late with doing it. But on that note, we'll end this one and wait for round 2. So that was a victory to Xray. They are now 1 game up out of this 2-game series.